Oh, I love that new intro. It's just like, yes, this is what I do, darling. This is what I do. I can't be bogged down by one thing. My brain is on fire. Hi, my name is Yaya Diamond. Welcome to Dream Chasers Radio. And I'm your host today. And we have a lot of different things going on. And that's where the neurological is that your nervous system. It drives you up a wall. I mean, literally, you're happy one moment and you're good. And the next moment you're like, I don't do this no more. And our next guest is going to tell us a little bit about that because we need to know. I mean, inquiring minds. Yeah, I'm not going to go there because I might get sued. But welcome her to the show. It's Miriam. Welcome to the show, girlfriend. How are you doing? Miriam Jacobson, right?
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Yaya, for having me on
Uh,
today.
Not everybody calls me doctor.
It's in your title.
I know, but I'm not used to it yet. Wait, I'm still trying to get used to that. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you kind of find yourself in your current field?
Yeah, so I am a functional medicine dietitian. I help people uncover the underlying reasons why they're in pain and in discomfort. And so I help people resolve everything from digestive imbalance to hormone imbalance, pain, inflammation, and mental health, anxiety, and depression as it relates to your metabolism and food.
Metabolism.
And Mhm.
I hate that word.
Well, your metabolism is really just every process in your body that breaks down food and helps your body utilize those nutrients.
My
So,
body doesn't
well,
want to nutrient. It doesn't want to use nutrients. It wants to store fat.
well, your body is always working to find balance and to help you feel better. And sometimes we just need a little bit more guidance on the right inputs because some inputs create pain and imbalance in our bodies, and some help to help heal us. And so when it comes to like our diets and moving around the world, we can be somewhat selective by focusing on really what we're allowing in and what we're really mindfully choosing. And I came to this work because of how I was struggling and suffering in my own body. I have a long standing history of trauma. And so my trauma started when I was 13 years old, and I refused to address any of the emotions associated with it. I told myself, I was like, if I feel anything, I'm going to just like fall into a black hole and I'm never going to be able to come out. So I repressed everything. I pretended that I was okay. And really what that did was it made me sick. That emotional suppression came out physically. I had digestive issues, I had back pain, I had migraines. I was 13 years old.
Oh,
And so this propelled me on a path to wanting to help other people. And through that, I actually discovered nutrition. And fast forward a few years later, I found functional medicine. I was still suffering in my body in my 20s. And while I had addressed the mental health and PTSD that I had gone through, I really needed physical support. And my doctor told me, like, I told him everything that was going on. And he was like, oh, like, you're kind of just making this up. It's, like woman issues, right? I know, biggest eye roll, woman issues. And I was like 20, at that time, I was 22 years old. And I was working for a functional medicine nutritionist in New York. And she was the one who helped me discover that I had food sensitivities. And within just a few months of completely shifting around my diet, all of my symptoms went away. So that's really how I found the magic of functional medicine for my own body. And I was a dietitian at the time, even. And I really wanted to figure out how to support other people in that way because every single person's body is different. So what works for me is going to be really different than what works for you or works for someone else.
I know the feeling, girlfriend. I know the feeling. Like I am one. How many vitamins do I take in a day? Let me count how many I take in a day. I know because as you get older, you need more of what you were taking when you were younger, maybe once in a while. Now it's like every day, every day. If I were to put in my hand how many vitamins I take in a day, you would wow. You
I
would
mean, honestly, I would probably believe it. And
well,
I have a bowl of supplements also
yeah.
that I'll take a
Oh my
day.
god.
But
Oh my
I think
god.
what happens sometimes, like as we get older, is that throughout our lives, we don't address our imbalances. So when we
Mm,
hit our 40s, when we hit our 50s, like we end up feeling like burnt out. And when, we were talking a little bit about menopause before we went live today. And when there's imbalances before we like hit really big hormonal shifts in our lives, like that is going to just amplify them rather than when we can really address the imbalances throughout our lifetime, we can set ourselves up. And it's never a lost cause. So even if you're in your 40s, 50s, you're experiencing them, right? There's still actions that you can take. There's still practices that you can incorporate into your life to help you find balance. The goal is eventually not to take like a bowl full of supplements a day,
I'm
right?
sorry. That is not
Mhm.
gonna work for me. Because I mean, think about it. A lot of people don't realize that they're having problems until that problem starts to present
Mhm.
itself on the
Mhm.
outside. And
Yeah.
you being like the way you were, and then now being in nutrition. And I always say, if you don't diet, you just take the tea off. Okay, just take the tea off and just go ahead and accept that. Okay, you're either gonna diet or die. It's gonna be one or the other. So you might as well just go ahead and diet. I absolutely love what you've done and how you've found yourself within that whole plethora of different things that were going on with you and your body, because a lot of people don't do that. They just go to their doctor, and then the doctor tells them, oh, you need to take this, or you need to take that, or you need to take this. And usually a lot of times it may be that, but those
Mhm.
things are just a cause of something maybe bigger sometimes. And
Yeah.
with me, that was the case.
Mhm.
I have white coat. I walk into a doctor's office and I am a mess. I'm a mess.
Mhm.
My blood pressure just goes pew, and I'm fine when I'm not in the doctor's office. But
Mhm.
take me to a doctor's office, my blood pressure is 140 over like 90 something. The moment I walk out the door, I go right back down to like 117 over like 70 something. I'm perfect. So,
Yeah.
like you said, everybody has their thing, but
Mhm.
should we all medicate and should we not? I think, like you said,
Mm.
everyone is different, and
Mhm.
that's just so good what you're saying. It's
Yeah,
so
and
good.
I'm a firm believer in integrative health. And so the way that our medical system really works right now is what do you have, what's your diagnosis, and what medication can we use,
Mhm,
right? But what that does, it's kind of just a band-aid. It's not actually getting at the root cause of why you're sick and why you're in imbalance. And I think a lot of people take the medication because they don't know that there's another way, right? Because
mhm,
that's what's covered from our insurance, and that's the entire way that our medical system is set up. And
yeah,
so when you go to your doctor, and they're like, this is the answer or this is the problem. And even if it's wrong, like I have been gaslit by doctors so many times, which is why you probably also have white coat syndrome, right? Like as women and then as a Black woman, right? You are going to be more gaslit, right? The statistics are
yes,
there.
yes.
And so it makes sense that you're anxious. It makes sense that your blood pressure is going up. And I'd be
Oh,
surprised if your blood sugar wasn't going up too,
oh,
right?
oh,
And because that's what happens with cortisol levels, right? Like everything is
of
going to just
course.
like surge,
Mhm,
and so that makes a lot of sense to me. And the really sad thing is, this is how our medical system, this is how our doctors have been trained. And so, in order to find some alternative or a different type of solution, the only reason I figured that out, right, was because I was like diving in, and that was the world that I was in. And that's also why I'm so passionate about sharing this with other people now, because I'm like, guys, there's another way. There's
mhm,
something else that works better for chronic health, right? And so, or like for chronic health conditions, and promoting longevity and reducing, like improving your quality of life, right? Because
mhm,
it's not just about living longer, but it's about living better.
yes.
And yeah, and you were talking about like going on a diet, and I think anything that you eat is a diet, right? Like that's just the way to describe the food that you're eating on a daily basis.
Mhm,
Um, But I think the word diet also gets a really bad reputation, and it's all about like weight loss and body fat. And it's like, no, like what if we can celebrate and acknowledge that food has a really powerful physiological effect on our body. It can actually
Yeah.
heal us. What
Yeah.
if we focus less on like, oh, my belly fat or like the role that I have, and more about like how I'm feeling when I wake up in the morning, right? And I'm feeling throughout my day, because that focus shifts our relationship with food and shifts our relationship with ourselves. And so we're all like victims of that mentality, right? Because that's our culture, that's our indoctrination. So it's nothing to be
Yeah.
ashamed of, but it is important to acknowledge how that's impacting your relationship with food, your relationship with your body. Because if you're overeating and then you're like, oh my gosh, now I need to burn a lot of the calories that I already ate, right? That's that's like punishing yourself. It's being really mean to yourself, right? So how can
Yeah.
we create more compassion
There is
in our
none.
bodies?
There's no compassion.
Oh, I think there is. I think it's just maybe hasn't been exercised in a second, but I think
Don't
it's
say that in
there.
one sentence. Exercise and compassion don't go together. No, you're right. You're so right. Like I remember seeing white chicks and the girls in the changing room when she's trying on clothes and then she's like, "Look at Telly the talking dummy." And I'm like, I tell my daughter, I said, Telly decided to like hang on to me, so I have Telly now. But it's like, you do. You're as you get older too, as a woman, you are supposed to look beautiful. You're not supposed to have wrinkles. You're not supposed to get older. So you got these women, they're taking their heads and they're cutting them and then they're pulling it up and then they're and it's like you're old, just be graceful and get wrinkles and stuff. But that's not something that you can do. A lot of women get these facelifts and they get these things and these procedures and they die on the operating table just because they want to look young again. But in retrospect, I think that our culture, like you said, has really damaged the image of what a woman really truly should be. We
Mhm.
should have stretch marks when we have kids,
Mhm.
even when we don't have children. Our growth spurts, you have stretch marks on your butt, you have stretch marks on your hips for getting bigger. I mean, you're growing. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then you're just gonna have them. You're gonna have them under your boobies too. Sorry,
Yes,
you know.
absolutely. Like estrogen is a hormone that stores fat. That's what
There you
estrogen
go.
does,
I
right?
know
And
about that
so
one.
yeah, so when I was 14, I had stretch marks.
Yeah.
Like I would
That's
be
not
considered
you're
a
not
thin
supposed to.
woman. I have cellulite. Like
You're not
I
supposed
think that
to. Nope.
yeah, but according to who? Right? According to like an
Exactly.
old white man, right? That like made
Thank
the rules like, sexy. Like it's
Oh
not,
my
and this it's like the most womanly thing to have curves and to
god.
have some
Mhm.
body fat. And like, who wants to be like the heroin chic model from the 90s, like that they were ill. They were sick. And even Christy Brinkley is coming out now and she's like, "Oh, I can't even hold the standard of what I look like to myself."
Mhm.
Like that's a problem.
It's a
That's a
problem.
problem. And
It
so I
really
think
is.
conversations like this are really important for really normalizing our bodies and
Yeah.
aging, right? Because it's not about like anti-aging, or I'm not about anti-aging and resisting getting older. It's like, how do we do that in a way that works with our body's physiology so that we feel good throughout our lives, so that we can
Mhm.
move and appreciate ourselves and what our bodies can actually do, right? Instead of
Yeah.
like berating ourselves and being like picking at all these parts. It's like, wow, my body is actually really strong for being able
It
to
really
move in this
is.
way.
It
Yeah.
really is. It really is. And I don't think men really care. It's like I asked a lot of men. I'm bold.
Hmm.
I go out, I'm like, "Excuse me," and they're like, "Yes." I'm like, "Can I ask you a question?" And I do ask them, "Does
Hmm.
stretch marks really matter to a man?" He's like, 100% of the men told me, "No, we don't care
Yeah.
about stretch marks. That's just something that women care about. We like stretch marks. We like a little bit of extra belly so we can grab. We like those
Yeah.
handles,
Yeah.
you
It's
know."
sexier to have something to hold on to and something
They
to
want something to
grab,
hold on, yeah, they want something to hold on to. They say if their woman is, out of shape or something, they'll start working out with them. It's not, and once a woman has a baby, it's like the ultimate thing that they consider the ultimate way to show your love is to bring the life that they give you through the process of creating a baby. Um, the life that you guys share is unified in children. And if you are a little bit bigger because of it, they don't care. If you have stretch marks, they don't care. They literally don't care. I think that it's just the women being bullied into thinking that we need to be, all the time this perfect thing. When you see singers out there and they have a baby, and the next thing you know, they're on the music videos and they're skinny and they got no
Mhm.
stomach. That is not real. That's not
Mhm.
realistic. They've done something. There's a procedure behind that somewhere. They
Well,
have
how much
trainer.
money is in that, right?
Exactly. They have a
Mhm.
trainer, they have someone cooking for them. We have regular lives that we have to live. That's not something that we can do. If you're rich and you have that kind of money, congratulations. I'm not against anyone like that. But we as normal women should not hold ourselves to such a standard.
No, and I mean, this conversation, I think, goes way beyond just nutrition and health, right? And it gets into like systemic patriarchy and how
Yeah.
men, how women, it's just a distraction. All of this is just a distraction. It's like if we're here focusing on our stretch marks and our cellulite, we're going to have less time to embody like our power
Oh,
and to be productive, like be really successful members of society. Because how many women are doing both, right? And if
yeah.
we didn't have this obsession with body image, and if we weren't like constantly picking on ourselves all the time, just
No,
imagine where women would be.
but you know what? And the second thing is that I've always said this to my friends, imagine, and I have all different kind of diverse friends. It doesn't matter to me. I don't really care.
Mhm.
But it's like, imagine the world of women or men or people, humans, getting together and working together, regardless of where you come from, regardless of how light or dark your skin color is, just treating each other as a human being, as someone who loves, cares, has a family, has hair on their heads, and they want to eat a good diet. They have nutritional issues. They go to the hospital. They go home. Their kids go to school. It's the same thing for everyone,
Mhm.
regardless of what your ethnical background may be.
Mhm.
Imagine getting together and actually working together to help each other succeed. That to me would be that would be utopia.
Yeah. I mean, that's a beautiful dream and a beautiful vision. And I
That
love
probably won't
that. And
ever
I,
come true.
what?
It probably won't ever come true. And I think that Martin Luther King said it too. He said that he would want for your little girl, my little girl, and our children to grow up together, to love each other, and to understand that we're all going towards the same goal. And that's to live a
Mhm.
life of love, of happiness,
Mhm.
of treating our families with love and happiness. Of if your family's mixed, who cares? Who cares? I mean, my family's mixed. I don't care. It's all about family. It's all about love, and it's all about bringing the next person up, like you and me. I just met you today, but I don't care. Who cares? What you're doing is important, and
Yeah.
I'm lifting you up, just like as if someone else was, lifting someone else up. Who cares? The whole thing, I think, is we're creating more of a nervous breakdown just because we're doing all this stupid stuff to try and look better, feel better, make ourselves look better than the next person. There's all kinds of different things out there, like you said, that are distractions that are really contributing to your job, basically.
Yeah.
You have a job because of all of this. Imagine if
Well,
you
it's
didn't have all
interesting because when people come to see me specifically for weight loss, I actually won't work with them just for weight loss
of this.
because I really need people to understand that nutrition is so much more beyond just like how we look on the outside. And it's really sad that this is the message, right, of what nutrition and what health is it's all aesthetic and it's all how we look.
Mm,
And I think what you're saying from a society standpoint of like lifting each other up, it's really just honoring like what's in your heart and what
yeah.
message do you have to share with the world, and what do you have to contribute, and how are you treating other people, right?
Mhm.
That's what's on the inside. actually matters more. And the same for me goes with nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
It's how do you feel? What energy do you have throughout the day? What's your mindset? How are you speaking to yourself? How are you speaking to yourself, and how does that teach what your daughter is learning about her body, right? Because kids
Exactly.
are very perceptive of how we treat ourselves. And so I think when we can get over like the things that divide us and the things that make us feel like othered, right? And maybe like victims of our circumstances or victims of our bodies, and really just embrace health and well-being, like I think we can resolve a lot.
Oh my God.
But I think it's sad. I don't know if we'll see it in our lifetime.
No, I don't think
But
so.
I
I
do
think we're
think
heading
that
there.
continuing messages, we can shift that, right? By
Yeah.
uplifting each other today.
I think the next generation is really moving towards that. They really don't care.
Yeah.
They're like, you stupid idiots from in the past. You guys are dumb. I feel the same way. I'm Generation X. And Generation X, I
Mhm.
think we started it because we were just all one big happy bunch of people. And we saw each other as people. I didn't see my peers, regardless of whether the color they were or where they came from or what language
Mm.
they spoke. I really didn't care. And I think that our children are really picking up on that and understanding that we're a world of people, not a
Mhm.
world of ethnicity. We're
Yeah.
a world of people moving forward. And I think too that this really does contribute to our nervous breakdowns, and
Oh yeah.
our weight gain. The cortisol that's behind this will keep
Mhm.
you fat forever.
Yeah. Well, I think, it does increase our stress levels, right? Like when we're
Yeah,
distracted and when we're like, hyper focused on our bodies and what we look like and everything that we can't control, like all of that takes up so much space in your brain and it creates so much
uh,
stress. Yeah, it's going to dysregulate the nervous system on top of everything that we are managing in our modern world, our constant access to the internet and emails
yeah,
and scrolling and the demanding nature of our jobs and our family, especially as women, right? Like
yeah,
you're expected to like own businesses and be in these positions of power, but also somehow show up and be the perfect mom and the perfect partner and, like have everything buttoned down. And so that's exhausting. So
yes. It's like I'm
of
already
course we're
tired.
burning out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm already tired. Can we stop? I'm just
You're
kidding.
like, is it 5 o'clock yet?
It's not 5 o'clock yet. It's actually 5 o'clock.
Oh, is it? I'm on the West Coast, and so I'll take your East Coast time.
Yeah, yeah. But it is so good to talk with you, and it's so good to see that I'm not the only one feeling this, and
Mhm,
because we're people, we're not a
mhm,
color. I'm
mhm,
a person. I just have extra melanin. That's it.
mhm,
That's what I was born with. Can I change that? No. I could
mhm,
on the outside change it. I could bleach my skin to make it white, but it still doesn't determine and change the fact that me personally, I'm still the same person.
mhm.
And I've damaged some skin cells, but I'm still who I am. We're people,
Yeah, and you
and
still have that the lived experience, right?
right.
Of every
Yeah.
like
You can
being a
never
Black woman in
erase.
America, right? Like all of that is a part of who you are.
Yeah, and you cannot erase it. I think a
No.
lot of people don't realize that the reason that a lot of people have bleached their skin is because they do not want to be associated with being a color
Mm,
anymore. And they have put it down to the fact that and this is the psychological damage that it has done to some people, if I can be white, then I won't get all of this attack that I've been getting because my
mm.
skin is dark.
Yeah, and it's so unfortunate that people have to feel like they have to change themselves rather than like, let's look at this system. It's
Yeah,
really deeply broken,
yeah, it really
and
is.
let's find ways to have women and women of color heard by their doctors.
Oh, oh, don't even go there. Don't even go there
Yeah.
because I've had the worst experience with doctors wanting to give me medicine, just me personally.
Mhm,
And I don't have any of these things,
mhm,
but yet they want to medicate me. And
mhm,
if they were to medicate me, it would kill me.
mhm. Well,
It
they
would.
either want to medicate you or tell you to lose weight. That's the most common thing that I've heard from
Yeah,
people visiting their
yeah,
doctors. They're like,
yeah.
"I have severe period pain, they have endometriosis," and their
Hmm.
doctors are like, "Lose weight."
Yeah,
Right? It's
it doesn't make
horrible.
sense. It doesn't make any sense. Why would I, even if you lost weight, that is not a weight
No.
condition.
No, It's not a weight condition, but everything, right? Everything has become that way.
Exactly.
I'll tell you that I'm a cancer survivor. I
Thank
was diagnosed with breast
you.
cancer 5 years ago now. So I'm almost at my 5-year mark, which is really exciting. But
Oh,
I found my own tumor. I found my lump. I palpated it. And I went to the doctor who was covering. My doctor was on vacation. So I went to the doctor and he felt it. And he was like, this isn't cancer. Don't worry about it. And I was like, excuse me? What does cancer feel like? Right. And he
come
was like,
on.
don't
How do
worry
you
about it. You're
know?
too young for cancer.
Oh
This
my
doesn't. And I
God.
was like, no, I know my patient rights. I asked 4 times for a mammogram. That saved my life, pushing and advocating for myself. So, the message that I do want to share with everyone listening to this is that you know your body best. If something feels off, if you don't feel like you're getting the right answer from your doctor, get a second opinion,
Yeah.
get a third opinion, get a fourth opinion,
I
right? Like continue pushing because
yeah.
if you know your body, you're the only one living in your body. And I think we sometimes outsource power to doctors because we treat them like gods, right, in our world, but they're not,
Yeah.
right? And they are human beings. They make mistakes. They don't know everything. And so if you know something is wrong, investigate
Yeah.
it.
Definitely. And I back that up because my mother, she passed away in July.
I'm so
And
sorry
she
to
was
hear that.
told, thank you. She was told that she had colon cancer. Then she went to a second opinion. They told her, you don't have colon cancer. Then she wanted to go to Moffitt to get it checked out. And the doctor kept saying that he hadn't received the referral and that Moffitt hadn't contacted them. That was not true. He received multiple emails for multiple days that they found in his email that he, I don't know, mistakenly overlooked. I can't tell you because I don't know what happened truly. You know what I mean? But you
Yeah.
don't mistake 5, 6 emails with a patient's name on it
No,
mistakenly. You just don't overlook that. That is not something you can overlook. And
no.
so, by the time we literally caught the cancer, it had metastasized and it was headed toward her brain. At the very end
Mm,
of it all, she was blind.
mm,
And so, she suffered for 3 months. Months. And
wow.
it was the hardest thing that I've ever seen in my life for anyone to go through, and I never wanna see that. So
Yeah.
I back you up on that. Please, if there's something that you feel like is off in your body,
Hmm.
go get a 5th, 6th, 7th opinion.
Hmm.
Make them. Make them do it.
Hmm.
If your doctor says, "Well, this is not covered through this insurance because it's with this doctor," find the doctor that's in
Hmm.
your insurance and go to that doctor
Hmm.
and make them.
Hmm.
Make them.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't even tell you the amount of stories that I have. And I'm so sorry that that happened to you and that you
Thank
had to
you.
experience that. Um, I've been that's just one of the many stories I've had about being gaslit by doctors who have told me like I'm not in pain or I'm not experiencing something I'm experiencing, right? And same for, people in my life, my patients, like it's a problem. And we know our bodies best.
We certainly do.
Yeah.
Well, wow. It has been such a pleasure to have you on the show. Your link is in the description box,
Thank you.
and also your website is on the QR code for people to contact you. Watch your blogs, you have videos and things up there for people to see. I absolutely love it that you give a lot of information, vitamins, which I have a whole heap of, and all kinds
Ditto.
of things. Oh, yeah. But I mean, we have to, like you said, we have to be advocates of our own bodies.
Mhm.
If you have to go to a different city, if you have to go to a different state, what's more important? In the
Yeah.
long run, I would say, I've gone to different cities to get tested because I
Mhm.
know that something's going on in my body and I have to find out what it is. And I will not stop until they do what I want them to do.
Yeah.
I've had full body scans. My doctor told me, wow, your brain is big. It's beautiful. I'm like, great. I was concerned.
I could have told you you have a big, beautiful brain. You didn't need a scan, but
But we have to have
Yeah.
these things checked. We have
Mhm.
to, and a lot of times we don't. There's certain things that
Yeah.
you can let go for a minute, but you
Mhm.
ultimately do need to get checked. So
Mhm.
don't let it go too far. I want to thank you
Yeah.
so much, Miriam. It's been such a pleasure. Did we miss anything, or would you like to say something to some of the people listening today?
No, just a whole lot of gratitude. Thank you so much for having me here. And if anyone wants to stay in touch or connect, they can visit my website, find me on Instagram at Every Body Bliss, and I look forward to supporting you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
There's just so much we didn't see here. Look at the videos and stuff, and the blogs that you can go ahead and participate in. And here on the bottom of the website are the Facebook, the Pinterest, and also the Instagram that you can also go ahead and find her at. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to dare to be different. And until next time, men, I tell you what, just please, please, please be an advocate for yourself. And if you need to talk to somebody, Miriam is here. Go ahead and call her. Until next time, guys. Bye.
Don't forget to follow us on YouTube and Instagram. Thank you for watching.